ask you to renew for a second time the mandate that you gave me 6 years ago.
We say we want rules. We were just paying rules. We want the hospitals. We were just paying hospitals. We say we won't go to schools. We were not paying the school fee. We want the market. We were not paying ya.
Yo. We were want to us. Da oro ina somo da oro ina somo be wanna speak to yo go want to us da oro ina somo da oro ina somo be wanna speak to
I want. Oh, man, we are, you know,
yo. Go want to us da oro ina somo da oro ina somo be wanna speak to yo. Go want to us da oro ina somo da oro ina somo be wanna speak to.
The state of our nation is peaceful and secure. We intend to keep it this way.
Bringing electricity, agriculture and forestry, strengthening security, fighting corruption, stabilize press, microfinance and jobs, poverty and livelihood. Yo. Go want to us da oro ina somo da oro ina somo go wanna speak to yo. Go want to us da oro ina somo da oro ina somo go wanna speak to
I want. Oh, man, we are, you know,
yo. Go want to us da oro ina somo da oro ina somo be wanna speak to yo. Go want to us da oro ina somo da oro ina somo be wanna speak to
I will be coming to you shortly to ask you to renew.
Like
Come on, Robbie, Papa, come here again. Come on, Papa, Georgie, come here again. Come on, Mama, Joe, come here again. Come on, Rossi, Tisha, come here again. Nale, walk country, Giant, come here so. Victory, better move, say you're better move, you is about to get away. Victory, moving back to get away. Victory, we come here again. Rossi, Tisha, come here again. Come on, Roger, we are coming again. Mama Joe, come here again. Opile Rossi, Tisha, come here again. Nale, ho, country, Giant, come here so. Victory, better move, say you're better move, victory, something to take you away. Victory, better get away. Victory, we come here again. We force the winner's game. We come here again. Coalition for democratic change. Now the whole country champion they coming so. You better move on the road. I say you better move your foot. body sing it away. Better give away. Yen say I'm on Imbo, I say I come. At Deble, Mosico corridor. Yen say I'm on Imbo, I say I come. See, shake your body, eh. Shake your body, eh. Why don't you shake your body, eh? Shake your body, eh. Acha le oh. See your le oh. Acha le oh. See your le oh. Say. Acha le oh. Say. We'll celebrate. And where most go corridor. Today is a wonderful day. We'll celebrate. We'll celebrate. It's a beautiful day. We'll celebrate. We'll celebrate. So DJ be ready. We'll celebrate. This a holiday, your movement. We'll celebrate. You be bodies in your way. We'll celebrate. Nothing you can tell us now. We'll celebrate. Nothing you get to tell us now. We'll celebrate. We are inside the breeze. We come here again.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on your location, where you're watching us from this time. We'd like to say a warm welcome this evening to BKS Television Online. And of course, welcome to the HITAL program here on BKS TV. On the HITAL, we say dialogue in our confrontation. We say words in our bullet. Today is the 7th of September 2025, and today is Fresh Sunday in the month of September. We'd like to say happy Sunday to all of you out there, and those of you making your way to church, or those of you who have already left service, we'd like to say welcome to the show here this evening. My name is Junior Payne, your regular host of the show. In today's edition of the show, we're going to be hosting Mr. Alvin Wisset. Alvin Wisset from CDC. Let me get that short way. We're going to be hosting Alvin Wisset tonight on the show. And many of you might know Alvin Wisset from the social media, but Alvin Wisset is the Vice Chair for Operation Political Affairs or Political Education at CDC, and he's also the former Assistant Minister of Regional Development, Research and Extension at the Ministry of Agriculture. Today, he's going to be our guest on the show, and we are hoping for the show to be really, really fantastic. We're hoping that the show will be a really good one. It's 8 minutes past 8 o'clock in Liberia, 8 minutes past 3 o'clock in Minnesota, USA, 8 minutes past 10 o'clock in Rwanda, East Africa. Where you watching us from this time? Tell us your name, your location, and let's give you a shout out here on the show. Saros Mantor Johnson, he said, good evening, everyone. I'm following this live broadcast this evening, and good evening to the people of Bayibona Town, Tua River District, Nima County. Saros, welcome to the show this evening. How you doing, my brother? Konuo M. Bliwon, welcome to the show this evening. I don't know where you're watching us from. Nathan Luogon watching us from Gompa City, Nima County. Nathan, welcome to the show. Please help to share with somebody. And let somebody share with another person here tonight on the show. Again, folks, we're going to be hosting Alvin Wisset of CDC. That's why you see us playing the CDC music here tonight. You know, as always on the show, when somebody is coming, we got to play, we got to feature that person. And Alvin Wisset is our guest on the show today. I mean, somebody posted on Facebook that we should bring our dictionary around us for today's edition of the show. But it's going to be a wonderful one. It's going to be a fantastic show. And if you're just joining us again, we'd like to say welcome to the HITAL here this evening. On the HITAL, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullet. So our panelists are already in the back while we try to bring them on. Let's go for this break. But if you're joining us, where you watching us from, tell us your name, your location, where you're watching us from this evening. Tell us where you're watching us from this evening. Again, I'd like to say good evening to the people of Nima, good evening to the people of Bone County, the people of Lofa County, the people of Magibi, the people of Montserrat, and the rest of the counties within Liberia. I'd like to say good evening to all of you and a warm welcome this evening to BKS HITAL show My name is Junior Bay, your regular host of the show. Guess what? I got some kind of recording for Alvin Wisse, and I want to play it before we bring on the panelists. I want to play that recording. Yeah, tonight is going to be mouth watering. It's going to be fantastic. As you all know, whenever it's BKS, we bring you all of the latest happening around the country. So I mean, I got something here for Alvin Wisse, and I want to really I want to play it for you guys before Alvin join us on the show. But if you just turning in, you're listening to the Heat Hour here on BKS TV. On the Heat Hour, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullet. So we will be using the words in here tonight. We're not going to be using bullet. But let's go for this break. My friend and brother Victor Blessing Yulu is following us from LPMC Bypass, Ganta City. Victor, welcome to the show this evening. How you doing, my brother? K. Paco Seka II is also watching us this evening from Monrovia, Liberia. Paco, good evening. Welcome to the show this evening. I'm seeing my friend and brother Chris Silly, Sidisha in disguise, CMC in disguise, Unity Partisan in disguise. I'm also seeing my friend and brother in the back, Shadrach G. Togbe. Shadrach Togbe is, I don't know, I should say, an ally to the Vice President, Jeremiah Kong, and also a panelist of the show. Shadrach, good evening to you and welcome. Siliki Tori, as always, Siliki is here. Siliki, welcome to the show. How are you doing this evening? My friend and brother Jacob Carter is also watching us from Kigali, Rwanda. Jacob, welcome to the show this evening. How you doing, my brother? Again, it's going to be a great one. Alvin Wisse is here tonight. Alvin is here tonight. It's going to be really, really great. Really, 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 really great. Victor B. Yelu, welcome to the show. How you doing, my friend and brother? That's my booty, man. From way back, That's my guy. Let's go for this break. When we come back, we go to the panelists and discuss what's on your mind and bring on the guests here tonight. Let's go for this break.
Small rescue puppets, those apologists, those rescue surrogates, those miscreants, those rescue multi-banks and charlatans who were insulting people. Oh, yes, and some of them, they are in economic destitution, paralysis, and enigma. So-called experts in the country, that's a contradiction. So I think the guys are just a bunch of what we call political and professional tabula rasa and buccaneers.
The mandate that you gave me said,
Yo. No way, want to us, yo. Da oro, financial mo, yo. Da oro, financial mo, no way, want to speak to yo. No way, want to us, yo. Da oro, financial mo, yo. Da oro, financial mo, no way, want to speak to
I will be coming to you shortly to ask you to renew for a second time the mandate that you gave me 6 years ago.
We said we want rules. We were Japan rules. We want the hospitals. We were Japan hospitals. We said we won't go to schools. We were not pay the school fee. We want the market. We were not paying ya.
Yo. Alvin Wisse, I want to talk to yo. Now all of y'all, not some of y'all, now all of y'all, all those charlatans, those miscreants, But again, folks, we'd like to say good evening to all of you and welcome to the show this evening. Yelese by watching us on Charm Country. Yelese, welcome to the show. Harrison Gore Forever Love Boy is also following us this evening from Complex City, Nima County. Harrison, good evening to you and welcome to the show. Jacob Carter watching us on Kigali, Rwanda. Jacob, welcome. Siliki Tari watching us this evening from an unknown destination. and my friend and brother Victor B. Yelu also following the show this evening. Victor, welcome. So, Chris, I know as always we got to start with what's on your mind. How you doing this evening, Chief?
I'm okay. Just my big brother Sergio feel just serious. This evening I don't know what's going on, but I'm doing great.
Yeah, shout out, good evening, and welcome to the show. Today is going to be firing. The imposition, man, and they will use book on them today. That's why you see out there for politics. I don't discuss politics because they kind of book them. People like Bangura and speaking of kind of big book, and they are all in opposition. The imposition, man, can feel insecure. But welcome to the show, my friend and brother Shadrach.
Hey, Gio,
How you doing?
I just got so much here now to put it down. So any words?
Yeah, Joe. Good evening to everybody. My finance you my man, I go Chris. I just tired at all being up and down today. So
Shadrach, did you go for service today?
not really.
Doggy.
So
Chris,
I was up and down, other things, so I didn't go for service. Even so I prayed to my house this morning to get it out.
oh, okay, that's great. Chris, let's hear you what's on your mind after you will go to Shadrach, and then we can bring the guests on.
Oh, just that our concern now have to do with the way school is about to open Liberia. I will keep saying it. Some of those areas that for me personally have been intervening, other areas in Nimba. I think the ministry or the Ministry of Education have to intervene. They have to go beyond now to start taking those schools because those areas our children or our assemblies are about to go sit for class, or those areas not very conducive for the learning environment. So I hope that the minister will go out there before school opens or from now to next week. Now get on the feet and see those areas that they're going to provide education for our assemblies out there. It's very bad. So the school building Dion is leaking, to be real, and no desk for them to sit on. Is that an area they want for our kids, the future leaders tomorrow to go sit and learn? What happening? I think the minister to go out now with our team to see how best they can intervene in some of those areas that we think that is necessary for the government to improve on. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, that's a really good point. A lot of schools in our country needs reform. Let's hear you, Shadrach. Welcome to the show once again. What's on your mind this evening, Chief?
Yeah, thank you, Junior. So I just told them know about this program that have been implemented by the former minister Laurent Bogle, for the past years, and I think that program is important for Liberia, teaching attitude. I think Liberians, our problem is our mindset, our attitude is a problem for us. So if this program can be a nationwide campaign to educate people about how to behave, how to live in society, how to collaborate with each other. Because I think the Civil War get a greater impact on our society, even though we were kids at the time, but some of us that was blessed to be nurtured by our parents and who went under the restriction or control.
So, Shadrach, you didn't experience the Civil War?
I experienced what I thought we were kids. So
no, man, we experienced that thing, man. We saw how to, yeah, my man. It was brutal.
When you born that time, you born 2000, right? Don't disturb my saying, please. You were not born at that time. We were kids. So what I'm saying is we have too much of wayward children and self-groomed children. People raise themselves. They feel whatsoever they do is right. I think that the major problem we have in society today. So that teaching attitude program, I think it should come back to reality by the national, by the government or every citizen to take that as priority to educate people how to behave in society. Most of the issue we have in the country is about behavior problem, and not actually about government or people not living well, but more often we see people behave on the contrary. Thank you so much this evening for your time.
Thank you. Shout out that you talk. Plenty people behave on the contrary in our country. Plenty people. DK, welcome to the show this evening. How you doing? Today you seem comfortable. It's like you're not babysitting today. Let's hear you what's on your mind.
Yeah, I know my person is saying you after me, but oh, welcome our lone female panelist. I know she's looking sharp today. How are you, Mama? You caught it all hard, man.
You're looking good, man.
You're looking too good today, oh.
I'm from District 7, the owner district with the richest lawmaker in Liberia. So, looking sharp is part of our.
So you just want the money, right?
So I know that comment is directed. That comment is directed to Marvel Singh.
The lawmaker was in the district over the weekend. I was also there. So who knows?
That confession there. Something drop.
Nothing trouble. People answer my question for me, yeah.
Anyway, welcome. This serving former candidate and prospective candidate. Are you still in your office? I see all your doctoral research people all around your table. How is everything?
I'm good.
Lovina, take it from there. You go ahead with your opening statement so we can go to my person.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening to our listeners, our viewers, and want to say good evening and welcome again to BKS TV. So the latest news this evening after the passing of former Minister of State, Ambassador Gracefield, is that the president has appointed another Minister of State or somebody to replace to take on that role. And the person is now new to the president. He served him when he was vice president. So I think it's fair enough that he worked with somebody that he already knows, somebody got some level of trust in, somebody who wouldn't betray his trust because of, maybe some misunderstanding or so, because somebody say, when we are no longer friends, whatever we did as friends should remain, it shouldn't come up because we are no longer friends. So I want to say congratulations to Steve Quia on his appointment as Minister of State. Or let me say his nomination, because he's not appointed. His nomination as Minister of State. Congratulations. And then another thing is, I don't know, for those of you that are in Liberia like me, the US rate yesterday, I changed money for 195. This evening I changed money for 180. So, but then I'm not sure whether it is affecting the prices of things. I bought gas even for 730, which is almost the same without I usually buy gas. So I think they I said, when I change my left 50, they give me 10,000. I can't change it 50. So it's funny, but it's serious, because if the prices of things are still high up and then the US rate is dropping, I mean, it kind of like you get wasting money and not getting anything from the money. So I was laughing while telling him, but then it was hurting my heart. I said, but just 2 years ago, I changed $10 would be, $50 would be for 10,000, but now it's like 7,000 plus. So yes, so that's another thing that's on my mind, and I know a lot of you guys that have seen experience. A lot of people listening have this.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you so much. I know your network giving problem. Thank you very much. Let's hear you, Mr. Marfa, saying what's on your mind this evening, Chief.
Yeah. Until our
She's still speaking, though.
Yeah, I don't know what is happening to our network. Is it only
So
from my end?
as if fair that we listen to her small. I mean, we're small.
No, I think you go ahead. She dropped.
All right. Thank you, Jim, and thank you to everyone who's
Same brother,
made it.
your camera, your face is kind of no dividing the two.
I don't know why my. Yeah, you're right. Let me see. Let me see. Is it good?
It's okay now. It's okay.
Right. Yeah. So as I was saying, I want to say thank you to all of us. I know it's a difficult time. A lot of us busy, but to spare out some moment, to come to this platform, I see it as an opportunity, and I see it as something quite sacrificial. And I want to say thank you all. What's on my mind? I want to pick up from where Shadrach uh, left, change in mind, change in attitude. I think it's very paramount for the growth of our community. We have to change our mind, change our attitude. There is this quote by Albert, that is being widely attributed to Cummings in Liberia. Our instant made the quote, but it's being widely attributed to Alexander Cummings. You cannot use the same mindset that you use to create a problem to solve the problem. We've come of age as a country. We need now to understand where we are, change our approach and work ourselves to glory. A lot of other African countries are fast graduating themselves. We are still lagging behind, and one of the root causes is our mindset. Liberians are quick to be satisfied with little or nothing. We highly hold our leader accountable for their role in society. We just elect and keep changing leaders.
Is he mute or what?
Are you there?
Okay, we hear you now.
Yeah, but I'm not mute.
You went low suddenly. That's why.
Yeah.
Answering it, the person just kept calling. So as I was saying, we need to be very, strong, steadfast. We need to keep the feet to fire those we elect. We can't be changing leaders as if we're changing Ghana Lapa. But I mean, bulk of it is rooted in our own mindset. We are quick to be satisfied. Whatever little is done, we're quick to elevate it, run with it. And in our respective corners, we sit, we talk about it, we grieve about it, but we don't have the balls to say, look, this is not enough. I've stayed the city I'm in now for like 5 years, and in the course of the 5 years, the level of development that has been done is more than government for Ellen time, Weir time, Boaka time combined. But yet, the people would never be satisfied. They are outing and fronting for more and keeping the feet of their leaders to the fire. And it is by that the consciousness of our leaders are awakening, and they stand up to do little things. But we always share ourselves across party lines. Our loyalty is to our respective parties, is to our respective relatives, associates, and we elevate, we praise, sing, and we would now want to touch the meat of the matter. And so this mindset, this mediocrity has kept us backward, and our community continue to sink to the bottom low. You know, a country will celebrate one military hospital in the period of 6 years and think that the government has done well. Today, one overpass bridge since 1847 is being celebrated and danced, and everybody talking about it as though it's the greatest achievement that had impact on the life of the people. So we have to wake up from mediocrity. And the second thing is, you know, talk the culture of work out of our young people. Liberians will crave for work, but give them work, they won't do that. People just sit in Monrovia and complain they will want to get something free, they want to get something on a silver platter. If you say, look, go to Grandy there, I have work for you. Oh, they pay too far, I can't go there. But the one thing America has taught me is that the title of the job really doesn't matter. People look to what can sustain them, what will put money in their pocket, and what will put food on their table. It doesn't matter the title. You see a man with a PhD, but is doing sales job because the sales job can give him what he wants. You know, so it's all about title. It's all about government. It's all about, you know, elected position. And because of that, we continue to politicize even vital issues. Before a doctor is placed at a hospital, a nurse is giving a pay rise, he might have known the medical administrator. Those things are wrong. We need to build a new, different society with new mindset so as to see Liberia to the next level. So I always want to use this platform to say to all of us Liberians, we have to be the best, a better representation of Liberia. We have to be the very best of an ambassador for our community. That's the only way Liberia can grow. And on the premise, change your mind, change your attitude. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matheson. Let's recognize our CEO, Alvin Seka Sunior. Good evening, welcome to the show this evening. How you doing, Chief?
Thank you so much. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
My brother Matheson voice sounding very heavy this evening, so
heavy in terms of what?
Like the bass. You know, your tone, your voice there sounds like someone.
Sounds like maybe you were sleeping
or something.
Oh yeah, I was. You're right.
You know that leads to my point there. I just want to appreciate. I think you made the point there. Saturday, everybody's busy, but yet and still we are all taking up our time from our busy schedule to be on here. You know, taking 2-3 hours out of your day to be on this platform. I mean, that cannot be understated. I want to say from the bottom of my heart that I really, really appreciate all of you. I want to say thank you to everyone on here. I know, say Lorena, I can't speak much to that because she already know the vision and the mission of this organization. She's been part of it from the genesis of it. So thanks to all of you for being on here today. And as always, I just want to say thanks. Our guest is working on his computer. He will be joining us here shortly, and then we look forward to having an entertaining conversation tonight. He's excited. He has already shared our platform, the notification, the flyer on his page, and he's excited to be part of this conversation. He's my namesake, so you know the name Alvin. I don't know if you guys know the meaning, but is a very, very nice name that means friend of a noble one, you know. So we are a friend of a noble one. So it's just not any name.
You're just a friend of a noble, but not the noble one.
But the noble, you know, when I'm friend with noble, that means that something there. But I do look forward to the conversation. As far as what's on my mind, I think our interview yesterday with the honorable former lawmaker and minister, my own big brother Wally Duna. I wasn't part of the show, but I was in the back listening because I had a little bit of headache yesterday. I think it was really great. He talked about, you know, the connection our family have as far as his father was my dad, best friend, you know, how they worked their way through EAWA and how he has actually been helping me and working with me behind the scene when it comes to most of our projects and things that we're doing like Liberia there. And so I wanted to appreciate him for taking up his time to be on here too. And also to our listeners, we have a lot of, listeners who follow us from Ivory Coast, from everywhere. I know they're always on here. I want to say shout out to them and thank to all of them for being part of it. One thing he said yesterday that, and I think everybody, took notice of that was the aspect of, angry winner. I think that was the word that he used. And that caught my attention when it comes to NIMA unity in any way, shape, or form. I believe that if that's the case, I think those in leadership who are being referred to as angry leaders, I think it is incumbent upon them to reach out and try to make amends with their fellow Nimarians. One thing I have observed on this platform with all our guests that we've invited from Nima, all the stakeholders, be it former lawmakers or former minister, government official, they all have the same thing, and you'll notice that they're all pointing towards the same direction as far as not being listened to or not being called upon, and a little bit of frustration in their tone from Honorable Larry to, the list goes on and on and on. So, and I think it's incumbent upon our leaders of NIMBA, the folks who are advising him and anyone else to reach out. NIMBA is all we have. Our strength lies in unity, and we look forward to hearing some positive feedback from all of them in the future. So, again, I'm working the phone here, trying to get our guests on here. So I'll be in the back a little bit, but looking forward to a great conversation here today or tonight.
Thank you, CEO. Thank you very much. When it comes to what's on my mind, it only had to do with menu. Now that Premier League is closed, I don't know where menu stands right now because as the way things are going, there's still 9 on the table.
Yeah, we got rid of one of our major distractions. Onana was saying we're blowing out.
So, but yeah, so how Onana say for Cameroon today, right? For he contributed today, right? You saw that match.
I contributed in there.
But anyways, it's going to be a good show. It will be a really great one. Siawete, if you're there, please come on camera to tell us how you doing, my brother. What's on your mind this evening? DK, you're drinking some chilly cold water. Tell us what's on your mind this evening.
When you see me there, I'm ready to cause trouble. Yeah, you see me drinking cold water. I want my heart to be cool. I just stop beating, and I do that all because get fed. Whether you opposition, you ruling position, you hate position, or you defeated Kennedy, all of you don't get fed. Anyway, like Abby said, I was sure we've been doing great. The only thing we continue to do is to send out a reminder. Let us be the bridge between those who are in agreement and those who are in disagreement. At least so we can build a very strong, united NIMA and Liberia. my national anthem here, I think Wally echoed that yesterday. I want to call on Vice President Kuhn, Senator Koga, Senator Yan Tuan, all the NIMA lawmakers, the representatives, including those in government, Minister Depuzuo, Raymond Pay, Kopo Kua, all NIMA officials who are in government, to kindly pay Cabinet his money. If I would say this every day, I have to say that. Because when this man was disgraced, humiliated as a son of Nima, He took the case to court, even to the ECOWAS court. They ruled in his favor. Not only that, he joined the rescue team and booted out those who humiliated him and disgraced him publicly. And so he did so that at least he can get a dignity he deserves. But every appeal that he had given to the current government that he supported with his sweat and money, everything had been on deaf ear. This is wrong. It's bad for us. And so when we're talking the NEMA unity, those are the things that will carry the other unity away. You can't be talking NEMA unity. Then the man that on one hand he was supporting this, he was disgraced by the past regime, and people don't want to pay him money, including his brother-in-law Joseph Boakai. That man's wife is from Lofa, he's from NEMA, a very strong constituent. They have refused to pay him money. The other people who are in politics, the Zotown, the Garrison, and the rest of those people don't want their political money. I'm not advocating publicly for them, but they deserve to get their money. But I think cabinet money needs to be paid. If people don't pay that, you say you buy, you can be there. You for the people, then 2 minutes not for them. I don't know where you in zero or
our boy February, our boy
yeah, you and my brother. I'm saying yo today, yo,
you get meeting for free, and you get money.
No, they didn't pay. They gave them 25%, but they have not paid all their money. 25 out of 175 outstanding.
Now,
my brother, you see that? I mean, I told you the two people that better sleep.
What is being?
No, it was a being paid.
No, you said
so I'm not English person. I'm not English person. I started school.
No,
I'm not English person.
Being paid. When you say being paid, I'm not pay for it. No.
He's being paid.
So who been paid?
He's being paid.
Who been paid?
And people are saying,
then pay where? 25%?
Okay, we'll move on to
I'm doing
they can pay everything I want, Chris. Government does not take when they say,
so what about cabinet? What about Justice Janet?
So we need to talk so they can pay Justice Cabinet. That's true, indeed.
So what about Garrison? Lorena, I'm asking you the question particular. What about Garrison?
What about Garrison?
Hey, so
you said we're not so bad. You said we're not so bad for politician.
But why did you get a measure from or defeated Kennedy? Look at my people, my person. Why gotta do that?
My man, here today, my boss and myself on the scene side. Let's say what they Thomas and myself. The way my boss is looking objected today. Let's keep them men at this.
Okay,
before the men become defender for the government.
Thank you. So we have Junior in the back working with our guests to get him on. So we'll go on to Siawete to hear from him. Siawete, as you know, our usual routine here is before we start, we ask each of our panelists about what's on their mind for the day. As far as the program goes. So we are waiting on our guests, and I think Gino is in the back working with him. So see what you got there.
Well, nothing much. I'm just happy to be on tonight and this evening. And it's a pleasure again to be on the platform with,
he call you, right?
Yeah, so like I said, it's a pleasure to be on this platform, to share the platform with Sion Brothers once again. And thanks to everyone that have been holding the show.
Is there gender exclusion?
What?
You said you happen to share a show with your Senior Brothers. So I'm asking if it's gender exclusion.
I'm still in speech now. I said, I know you are the lone female here. I will not speak and don't recognize you. morally will be against me. So, says Lorena, it's a pleasure also to see you. So,
Thank you.
Gio, you speaking to me?
Yeah, I just wanted to come in. Our guest is having a little network problem, so he will not be appearing on the show, but we're going to have him via
Man, I get
telephone.
better. But we can host having we said to him.
The men get data. So again, folks, would like to say good evening to all of you and welcome big sibling to BKS Television. I mean, tonight, like we said in our intro, we'll be hosting Honorable Arvin Wisse. Arvin Wisse, I serve as assistant minister or former assistant minister for regional development, research and extension at the Ministry of Agriculture. And of course, he's also the vice chair for operation and political education at CDC. Now, Arvin will be having Arvin via telephone. Therefore, we're only going to be displaying his picture here on the screen while he's speaking to us. Arvin, good evening. Welcome to BKS TV this evening. How you doing, Chief?
Well, good evening. It's a pleasure. I'd like to extend my heartfelt greetings to every one of you on the platform. I'm very sorry. Try conducting my network to get me on the program, but I was unfortunate, and I want to extend my sincere apology to those who are anticipating me via that process. And I'm glad to have been invited, and I'm open for questions, and I will be providing some answers as we endeavor to unravel some of the critical national issues emanating from our country, issue regarding the different trend in national issues in our country. Let me say thanks to every one of you on the platform once more for such an opportunity to speak to our people that are listening with different uh, devices across the country. Yeah, I'm humble to be at your invite.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. I mean, with no time to waste, let's dive straight into the conversation, beginning to know who you are in details. I mean, like your name, where you school, and your, let's say, where you've worked before or where you currently works. Let's start a conversation like that.
Oh, thank you. So by 2007, 2008, I graduated from James Doyle Semilopo High School in Claratown, Bushel Island to be specific. In terms of my upbringing, I'm a former child broadcaster on Omni Radio in 2005 on the RCTV program, the International Children's Day of Broadcasting, and subsequently 2006-7. I was also a child broadcaster on the famous then Star Radio. In terms of education, I graduated from the University of Liberia with BSc in General Agriculture, and at the moment in history, I serve as former Assistant Minister for Extension, Research and Development, and currently occupy the position as Vice Chair for Political Education and Operations, Vice Chair for Operations and Political Education. So I'm a librarian from River G County, both parents, and I'm a right activist, a social political commentator, and somebody who's still trying to study and try to read the dynamics about our world and how we can exist and conform to the realities of the human race. So yes, briefly, I'm humble, and that's all I can say for now.
Great, having it's good having you on the show here tonight. We have a couple of panelists, and I guess they are all wanting or waiting to ask you questions tonight on some of the trending national issues in Liberia. Get starting with this issue of drugs is so dear to my heart. How do you see it with the way the government is fighting drugs in Liberia? What's your stand on the issue?
The government has undermined the fight against drugs. It has more of a politicized the fight against drugs. Because you see, if you look at the history of drugs, it's not akin or unique to any other government. It is a historical menace, social menace that has existed many years, and we know the history of drugs in Liberia, in the sub-region, in other countries, and the kind of negative impact it has had on the society, population, and the growth of the given generation. So while I thought that this government would have done in terms of the fight against drugs, since those who are now in leadership were in leadership before on early and Joe 12 years, and I believe that they should know better in terms of how to deal with the matter. So the first thing I was anticipating was to declare a national task force on drugs and substance abuse across the country. How do you do that? The first thing you do, you have structures across the country. In the 15 countries, for example, you look at focal points. When you look at focal points, you collect data information on both the dealers and that of those that are the victims. When that is done, you create temporary holding centers or rehabilitation centers across those different information you have collected through the 50 counties. And then the next thing is to provide awareness. And after awareness, you now start to deal with the victims. When you deal with the victims, you are dealing with medication, issue of counseling, you are dealing with issue of providing canopies or shelter for them, food and nutrition for them, and you are talking about reintegrating them back into the society so that they can be accepted and then become change agents and productive citizens. On the issues about the abuse, the dealers, you now institutionalize strong measures so that it serves as a deterrent. Now, those who are caught in that act, because the previous government, the Excellency President George Weah, we have under the CDC's administration, there was a strong drug law that was signed and passed into law that those who engage in the importation of drugs in our country to go to prison for about 10 years. That law is very strong. Now, all we needed to do is to have the maximum political will and be able to implement such and then serve perpetrators, teach them the lessons, and so that those who are engaging into that market or black market will not have the opportunity to, even when they will do so, they will do so on the basis of the kind of measures you put in place. That was the preliminary plan that I thought that any responsible government would have put in place, well organized, a team, structure it from county to county, district to district, community to community, and then you can be able to make that fight a very systemic fight that will be organized and structured. So that was how I thought the issue of drugs should have been, that fight should have been led and the battle. But instead, we saw people just steadily jumping into the street wearing t-shirts, say no to drugs, and they printed banners, and they will have lavish parade, and they were masquerading into social festival. That was how the government missed out in terms of the fight of drugs. The next thing is that those who were appointed statutorily, I'm talking about statutory law enforcement institutions like the DEA or the Labrador Drug Enforcement Agency, by its function and statute, should have been very, 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 very much impartial, very, very much proactive, and in terms of executing and discharging the functions, the statutory responsibility, they should have been very, very much serious in their engagement. We lost the fuel, the government lost the fuel by the inability of those who were in the DEA, those officials that were appointed, the ability to organize themselves, the ability to put in measures, the ability to collectively fight the drug cartel and those that are dealing into substances and everything led to what we have to do. So, for example, the government had to change the administrations, the operators, the officers that were appointed to deal with drug issues. Now, if the officers that were appointed to deal with drug issues themselves are fighting among themselves, and there is dismissal from another dismissal to another dismissal, there is appointment, reappointment, and there is clear division, and there is crisis in that sector. Because that is the statutory responsibility of the DEA to fight drugs. When the DEA is fighting itself, and when the DEA is overwhelmed, and when the DEA is in disarray and being disintegrated, then you realize that the system will collapse, and there will be a system failure, and there will be a massive system failure. Because that institution should have been the one who will say, "No, we take the lead, we take the bull by the horn, and we will implement whatever policy, whatever measure, whatever law that is on the book, consistent with the statutory functions and responsibility of the Labrador Law Enforcement Agency." Instead, we saw that the cartel overwhelmed that place. 3 different times, people were disbased, were suspended. Even operators of the entity, operators of the entity also came out publicly that there are some elements within the bailiwick of the government who are in the 3 branches of government. Direct accusation that there are people within the bailiwick of the government who are also dealing drugs, and we saw the president is facing. People who made such claims, who made such allegations against the government.
Thank you.
From what we are currently, in terms of the situation now, it's a dilemma of situation. It's a situational dilemma. It has reached a crisis proportion, and if care is not taken, we are going to experience huge crime rates in our country, and it's going to spill over to our homes. It's going to spill over to our street, onto the different streets in the communities, and it's going to create serious embarrassment for potential investment, and going to undermine investments in our country. Because if you do not deal with, because drugs addiction and substance abuses are also recipe to the kind of crime you see, and they associated with criminality and robbery, So, for example, I'm seeing a lot of people doing community engagement, saying NATO drugs. They are beating the people. They are throwing out those who are who are victims of the drug. The question is, government is watching people throwing out these people from the communities on a temporary structures. Where do they go after they have been thrown out of the communities? Because, mind you, these people have more than, these people have above. They've been into that process. They've been into that abuse for almost 2 to 3 years, for some 10 years, some 15 years. They have substances in them that are killing them. That is serious of growing cancer in their system, has broken down all of their organs. So you need to first save the victims. Those that are already that have been vulnerable, that have been exposed, that have been eaten by that person in that system. We need to create a first aid approach by mobilizing all of those victims, ensuring that the place on our structures, temporary structures, holding structures. We got a lot of empty buildings in this country, but we are not doing that. We're not running after the community. Say no to joy, you go to every man over there. You throw the men on the street, the men are eating. That's why you see the spontaneous increase in terms of the dead bodies all around between the houses, go find their palace. It is because that the approach we are using, we are only focusing dealing with dealers and not also find medium term or short term plan or program to be able to mobilize, recruit, and integrate victims of the drugs by giving them the requisite medication, counseling, and the issue of providing shelter and clothing for them, like how we did it during the COVID-19 and that of the Ebola crisis.
Thank you.
We are not thinking about how these people can be because the intent is they said no to drugs. I think the underlying motive and intent is to save life. But if you are throwing them out of the street, out of the communities, where do they go? But the substance is already carried there, it's already in them. They mean that you are not saying left, you are contributing towards taking life away. And that's the kind of miasma, the kind of tobacco, the kodojong, and the dalima that is in the whole issue. So I think it's a blatant failure on the part of the government. The government is clueless. There are a bunch of incompetent brats in our system that are not doing. Because don't forget, we make clear accusation in the government that the government is also the first family, Joseph Iwan Bwaka and Tantan Bwaka. We have credible information that they are also having some interest in terms of the relationship and association with the drugs cartel in our country. So that's the reason why when you heard that there is a spark and I don't know, an Andros spark drugs in the place, it is a new one. You heard about the zombie drug. These are new drugs and they are coming. You get incredible information that they are in partnership with the drug cartel. So if we must fight drugs, trust me, this current government does not have why it takes the political will because it's in partnership with the drugs cartel.
Thank you, Alvin. This will be my last question to you before we go to the other panelists to ask their questions. Now, if CDC is to be re-elected tomorrow, what is one thing that you guys would do differently from your past administration? Something that you didn't do that you will do when you are re-elected?
Well, we have to provide more public education to our people. I think on the roadmap that we developed under the Purple Agenda for Prosperity and Development, we were on the trajectory of rebuilding the country's economy, resuscitating Liberia's field infrastructural developments. We were into education, we were into agriculture. We went through all the different dynamics in terms of the governance system of our country. What we did not do is we failed to interpret our own stories. We failed to take charge of our own narratives, and we failed to and provide public education to the masses of our people. And if you look, on the other hand, the Unity Party corrupted that process, manipulated that process, and provided mis and disinformation to the people like better through propaganda. So, I mean, information dissemination, public awareness, and civic education to our people, coupled with building a very strong rule of law that will not be for a particular individual, but be holistic. It will be something that will be general. So when we come to power, I believe that when we have a very strong system and control in terms of the rule of law, and when it comes to providing information to our people, telling our own story, interpreting our own narrative, refuting the propaganda and placing the propaganda with the facts, with the substance, with the currency, with the information, in my opinion, Liberians will now have a thorough appreciation about what is the dichotomy between the CDC and that of the United Party. What constitutes the CDC and that of the United Party? They will not be bamboozled. They will not be lured. They will not be misled, and they will now understand that this is the party of the people. This is the party of the Liberian masses, and this is the party that is built on the massive support, grassroots support, and party that is in the interest of the Liberian people. I think that is where we fall short. We fell short in terms of the political narrative, in terms of propaganda and counter propaganda, in terms of public information dissemination to our people, and the issue that has to do with building, the rule of law and ensuring that it works for all, not for the selective few or the selfish minority.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to Shadrach. After Shadrach, we'll go to Mr. Matheson, Lorena Craze, and then Siawete. Shadrach, let's hear your two questions.
Thank you, Junior. Thanks to our Alvin Wisef for the appearance on our platform this evening. All right, good evening. So, Honorable, I listened to you. You explained a lot about the drugs issue. I want to firstly ask you about your role play when you serve as Assistant Minister for Regional Development and Research at CARI. I want to understand from you, because from March, January to March, sometime in 2020, CARI was allegedly involved with corruption and misappropriation of donor funds, where most of the donors back up, and some demanded of refund of that new funding before engaging into other activities with this institution. You, as assistant minister at the time, what was your involvement to continue the problem, and what was the impact at that institution at the time as assistant minister for regional development research? Thank you. John, can you echo my question to him? You're not hearing me.
He's responding to your question, Shadrach. Yeah, we are getting you now. We are getting you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like I said, now the first thing when it comes to my TOR, which is my statutory function at that ministry, particularly extension, it was never associated with CARI. I want to put that on record. At no point in time that I have any close direct association in terms of providing leadership or presiding over the matter concerning CARI. Despite CARI is one of the sub branches at the Ministry of Agriculture, but it enjoys autonomy. That is, it is a little bit independent because it has its own director and different code of office out there. So my responsibility was not to preside or carry in never no assistant minister over other ministry that's over carry. That's the point I want to make here. So on the allegation about corruption, it tells you automatically I'm also out of the equation. I don't take responsibility of any alleged corruption that must have transpired or that must have taken place at CARI, because that was never my statutory mandate and responsibility. What was my role at that place? Assistant Minister for Extension. My role was to preside over county agriculture coordinators and district agriculture officers across the 15 counties. That was my role. The only link between the Department of Extension and CARI is to take research information and communicate that to the farmers on the emergence of new varieties, for example, new techniques of farming, for example, and new methodologies that are deployed for farmers to adopt of the existing one they have so that they can increase productivity and enhance their productive capacity. So that is the only link, between the extension delivery service and the research center. But we do not have direct jurisdictions or statutory mandate in terms of the operations of CARI. So I don't know what you're talking about on allegation of corruption there. I hope I'm making myself clear on that.
Thank you. Shadrach, your second question.
Okay. All right. No. Yeah. So my second question, I will take you on the CDC political party headquarters saga recently. Your political party was evicted from the known headquarters in Congo Town. After the invasion, you as vice chair for political education and operation, you took a prior lady to the public property where you were evicted. I want to know, you were legally evicted from some of the property that I know you did not own, but then you took people there for prayer. What's that implication to the public? I want to know, please. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant question. Brilliant question. The first thing is that we have a very clueless and very useless government. I have said to the government of Liberia, Ono Bwakai, and Jeremiah Kun, that this country has seen worse status than this one. We saw the Tui party, we saw Do, we saw Charles Taylor, and today they are nowhere to be found in history. Today, Jeremiah Kun, a very young man who has been privileged to come to power by the consensus of the people on the tiny margin as vice president. Now, to the last surviving state of Liberia and last surviving mafia of the Tui party, they are now, instead of focusing on bread and butter issues in the country, issues that have to do with school fees, hospital care, agriculture, the inflation, the issue of jobs and investment, employment opportunities. Those are issues that people thought that the United Party would have come to the national governance spectrum, the national governance architecture to deal with those promises they made to the Liberia instead of going to the now on the account of the CDC. Like I said, it was just to show might and to show extra judicial power. It was just to show that the Unity Party it also showed the bitterness in the government, right? We went to a court. We spent 20 years on that property. Of course, there was a court process, pending court process, before the Honorable Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. As a matter of fact, that case was never properly adjudicated. There was no proper verdict that came as the consequence of the judicial system of our country. So how can a matter still be in court, Shadrach, and you take gangsters in place in police uniform? You take hooligans, political bastards. You take these people and place them into state uniform to go to the major opposition political party headquarters 4 a.m. in the morning with barrage of well-armed, weaponized men just to go and evade. And the whole question about whether they obtain a legal document from the court, no, there was no notice from the court. The court did not even give them permit to go to evade. So it was politically motivated. That's why you saw that happening. You saw the excessive force, use of, abuse of state security apparatus. And ensure the illegal invasion. But what we did there, if, for example, any reasonable person would want to agree with the CDC, have we been given the time, for example, oh, we are coming to your party airport, we want for you guys to pack your things? I think it was fair enough to give the CDC that privilege, since it has been occupying that position for the past 20 years in terms of occupation and everything. But you cannot give evasion, allegedly come up with an evasion or notice today, and the same day, you go to the party headquarters and go evict. But people up materials into offices, people sleep to that place, people get their children or schools materials, they sell to that place. Don't forget, all the people have lived to that place for the past 20 years. So you think it was fair to the city and those Liberians, poor women, men and women who lived to that place for the past 20 years? Do you think it was fair enough for them to have just invaded them, demolished all their properties, and because the government had power to do so? What we went to do was to go and recollect the memories of those who died in the party. Some of the things that were left, on the ground, we want to collect them, and it was just intended to say goodbye to the site because it was necessary to do so. And for somebody to question that, then we were here a few months ago. Joseph Juman Waka went and reburied Joseph Juman within our trouble. Look, members of the Two-Way Party, people who spent 133 years over this country. 133 years over this country. They raped our people here, they beat our people here, they disenfranchised the indigenous people from governance, they excluded them from major economic happenings, economic activities in the country. And you saw how our people were massively ill-treated, dehumanized under the Two-Way Party administration. When we saw Wakai reburied remnants of the Two-Way Party within our trouble, who was a clear representation of the old order of the oligarchy that brutalized people in this country and beat our people as slaves, as indigenous, ordinary workers in the homes of the political elite class, the American Liberians at the time. It took from us. We got traumatized. It created a dangerous photographic memory about how our people got treated. And on the contrary, we thought that the government would have even reburied the victims of the war, because those are people. How can you rebury the perpetrator of the 14 years of the civil crisis in our country and allow the victims in the rainy season in the graves, the 250,000, the people who died during the Dugo massacre, the Lutheran massacre, those people who died across the country, even in Nima County, even in Grand, in Maryland, all the people that died, 250,000 people that died. Instead of giving them justice, the government went and reburied the perpetrators. People like you never ask the government that question. Why is it that you rebury Samuel Kanyando? In Samuel Kanyando, and why is it that you rebury within our trouble? Those people are perpetrators of the carnage of the country. So if the government spends resources on perpetrators of war and violence in this country, of rape, of human abuse and torture, and you tell us, you question us, why we went to the party headquarters to collect our last historical review and give farewell to the party headquarters, then it's intellectual disservice, then it's disingenuous, then you must go back to history and you set on our show schedule and you clap and you celebrate Wakai for going to rebury people and murder our people in cold blood, but you asking us why we must go to our party headquarters and correct and take our historical reviews and go back to transition to our next home of revolutionary endeavor, then I think it is injustice. And I do not owe any balance of policy for our presence over there. If we have any time to go through this again, we will do that. It is part of our revolutionary homage. Give last salute to comrades who support. Don't forget, in our party history, CDC, November 7, 2011, people trying to die to that place. They were murdered. People trying to go murdered. That is not an ordinary gun. It's not a horse where somebody says, move onto my horse. No. That is not it. That place, that place is that place is where people told you were killed November 7, 2011. Etc. You want to show, you know about that place, and you know the history of that place. You know the history of that place. So we owe no apology to give them love, farewell, salute message to not just if you want them for building us for Sacramento, I listen to one how to call poor reader of history sitting on one of the show talking about the people go watching Sacramento. I mean that person must be mentally paranoid. We did not go for Sacramento. Sacramento was just is a symbolism. The real message was to go and give gun salute to those who died November 7th. That we say we are leaving the party headquarters, but we are not leaving you. We're not leaving you. We're not leaving you. Your memories. We still hold your memory. We still cherish your memory. That's why we went there at that party headquarters, and we're not going back there anytime soon because we have a simple mandate was to go and collect the historical memory of our party and then transition to our new party headquarters. So insofar you, Sergio, and others did not question Bakai for reburied people, Simon Doe, like William Arrow Tobo, there who kill people in this country, do not have the work gratitude. I mean, any of those people for that matter to question sedition why they went over there.
Thank you so much, Honorable Wise. If you're just joining us on the show this evening, folks, you're listening to the Heat Hour here on BKS TV. On the Heat Hour, we say dialogue in our confrontation. We say words in our bullet. In today's edition of the show, we're hosting Honorable Arvin Wise. Arvin Wise is the Vice Chair for Operation and Political Education at the level of CDC. He's our guest tonight via telephone. Let's hear you, Mr. Matheson, your 2 questions.
All right, thank you, Jim. Mr. Wise, this is Comrade Matheson and David, former Vice President of OSU and former Vice Tenor Bearer of the Vanguard Student Unification Party. I just like to note that so you know who's speaking. In your exposition, you claimed that the Unity Party government is a government of incompetent brats. Now, that statement has led me to reflect history. Historically, prior to your appointment as Assistant Minister at the Ministry of Agriculture by the then President, Ambassador George Manning Weah, the name Arvin Wise was someone who has acquired no college education, but someone who was expelled from the University of Liberia. And in that capacity, President Weah went on to appoint you as Assistant Minister, placing you in charge of extension, which is so much vital to the Ministry of Agriculture in the fight against hunger and food security. Using your logic, can we then say you represent one of those 4 brats appointed by President George Weah into policy position? That's my number 1 question.
Mr. Wise, are you there?
Yeah, I'm following. So you want me to respond, right?
Yeah, you got to respond to that first before you ask his follow-up question.
So Mr. Davis, Vice President Emeritus of us, thank you for the question. The first thing is that, you know, in our country, people go to stereotype people because of certain nomenclature, right? In our country, when you hear the name Jabase Koji, what comes to mind? That political elitism and act of stereotyping people nationally. For us, we do not subscribe to that. So the same name Arvin Wise. Oh, Arvin Wise is the first thing like I said in my introduction. I owe no one apology for confronting the United Party. I graduated 2007, 2008 from high school. But I should have guided from that university. 2015, the university took my education from me. The same United Party took my education from me. And you are asking me about competence and qualification. You were on a university campus, you were there, you were following the politics. You demonstrated, you call out bad governance. You wrote pamphlets, you agitated on the bottom of the student education party. Nobody expelled you. By the way, they didn't even condemn my expulsion. When I was agitating that the university must not increase tuition for 175 to $4 US, you are not on record for condemning that. Why? Because apparently these are the whims and caprices of the oligarchy in the party. It's trying now to, there should be hardship, poverty, and injustices of our people. So I'm supposed to have graduated from that university 2015. 2015, very sound, brilliant, educated to the core. I should have graduated, I was left with just 2 semesters to graduate from that university, from the College of Agriculture. And unfortunately, when the United Party saw that this young man was very tall in terms of the advocacy, in terms of the bravery, courage to put the system on trial, and to expose the bad governance in the educational system at that university on the national stage, my education was aborted, was arbitrarily taken away, and the United Party did everything to circumvent that process of my graduation in 2015. So I did not graduate from college like other people would insinuate. I did not leave school like Darius Dillon. I did not leave school like Darius Dillon. I did not leave school like other incompetent branches that in the government. My expulsion from the University was as a consequence of a politically motivated conspiracy against a young man who was a towering voice against injustices, academic malpractices, and malfeasance at that university. So I want to make that issue clear. So I have gone to the Department of Extension with sufficient intellectual capacity, academic history, judging from high school, judging from the service at the State University. I was former student leader, and with an understanding about the sector. There was nothing. My role over there, I just told you a few minutes ago, simply extension delivery service means distribution of agro input, for example, to farmers, and at the same time taking information, research information from CARI, the Central Agricultural Research Institute, to that of the farmers. Our role is advisory service. That's what people did not understand. My role is advisory, meaning for example, we discovered new variety of rice, maybe Narika L19 or Swakoko 8, right? And we say, okay, we got new rice that can grow for 3 months, within a period of 3 months. CARI have done our research. That want to get the scientists that are CARI. I will not present what CARI. It is that information we get from CARI to the research center. We can transport. That what we can transport to the farmer to tell people, say, this is the information. Then the farmer will now be able to adapt that new or technique or the new article or research or information and apply it for the purpose of productivity and getting some return of the investment. That is how we got to that place, and that's our role. Our role was not to be Minister of Agriculture, and not my role to be Minister of Agriculture. In fact, we have technicians, we got directors there, and we have anti-agriculture coordinators all in those places. So that was not my role. And 2, I always hearing people say, "Thanks for your question." That is going to answer a lot of things. I always hear people say, "Oh, the position will be for the man, the goal will be for the man." Comrade David, I want to implore you now, go to the Ministry of Agriculture, the current assistant minister over there. With no disrespect to him, he wouldn't have a BSc. The people lie that place over there, that's also people with PhD. The scientists with PhDs will be in that position, assistant minister position. They lie. Yeah, the position lie. Flabona over the place, that the position B volleyball, that's also PhD people over there. The current assistant minister is leaving Edward Perry. Go there. Just go on his page right now. Just go on his page. Edward Perry. He is owner of BSc holder. I don't know in the 70s. Like the way Pakai. Those are human Pakai. Who you gave the country to? He only had BSc when he became agricultural minister in 1985. 1972 as MPMC managing director, he only had BSc. When he became vice president for 12 years on early at BSc. When you were still there in opposition at BSc, you have him. Today, he's president of the Reporter Bureau. Bagay, they get BSc. So now, if we want to use your line of reasoning as well, can we say that Bagay is incompetent? And can you agree now that Bagay is an incompetent brat? Because if you want to measure credentials in terms of positioning and placement of people in public offices, then Bagay should not be qualified by the parity of reasoning. Because Bagay want to get BSc since 1972. The guy only got BSc in the whole life. He never gone to any university, any school around the world. So I think your question is sentimental. Your question is sentimental, is marked by prejudice, and I think we have to go to the substance of the conversation. I would have expected for you to tell me what were your gains, what were your achievements, and the legacy in terms of your service, delivery, and administration when you were there. And as a young man, what are your neighbor in place in corruption, or want to appreciate you because you serve with diligence, with transparency, and accountability in that place for them. But the question asked is sentimental, is prejudice, and they have if you were to do, if you were to go back, I mean, if you were to send that question back to you, look in your government now, who you have at president of the country, the guy only got BSc. So you're telling me that Bagay is incompetent. So you agree with me that Bagay is incompetent. But Bagay was Minister of Agriculture for BSc. Bagay was Vice President of the Report Bureau. He had BSc. Bagay is now President of the Bureau. He carrying it around with the same BSc. He's incompetent. That's what I said. An incompetent brand. And I do not owe you apology. Let's go across ministries, the agencies. Go check. Go to fire service. Go see how many young people will get BSc. So many people you pull it on microphone with people that all you pay off. You know that they cannot come around our intellectual capacity. You know that they cannot come around our academic progress. You know that they will not fit in the intellectual equation. You know that very well. So my situation was now somebody will never know. For the record, I did agriculture. I did in Liberia. And I'm political science. So I read extension at the 400 level to clarify that distinction.
Thank you. Mr. Matheson, your last question.
Thank you.
You are muted, Chief.
We're just trying to use your logic to ask the question. At least you've made me to understand that the person who is in your stead currently has a bachelor degree. And those were the people you bundled as incompetent brats. But sadly, he has a bachelor degree. You were expelled from the joining. Now, my second question is, history has told us that Grand Gwinnett County.
Expelled for what? Hello?
Whatever you were expelled for, my concern is you were expelled. Whether for doing the good thing or the wrong thing, no one will be expelled for doing the wrong thing. Look, you listen to me. Let me ask my second question. You're not here to interview me. You gave me a chance. Let me ask my second question, please. You have your time to respond to my question.
I mean, Chief, you don't have all the power yet. You have to be interactional.
Yeah, but it's interactive. In the wake of having an interactive conversation, when I ask, I give you a chance. So you have to give me a chance to ask my question.
Yeah, you got to put the question right. People get expelled for different reasons. So can you provide the record? Expelled for what? You are former student leader, man. My young man, you should be knowing better on the issue.
You tell me what you were expelled for.
But you serve a former past president of New York. I mean, also, and you don't know.
I have graduated and gone. You tell me for what reason you were expelled.
Okay, but
And the reason is not my concern. You came with a blanket statement that Boaga government officials are a bunch of incompetent brats.
Let's go to the next question, my brother.
Good. So that's great. Now, Grand Jide has historically been there for the CDC. History has tested and proven that in all of the elections that President Weah has taken part, Grand Jide has stood up and the results were clear. Now, to say now, I heard you say President Doe, someone who has a service record to Liberia, no matter what, whatever happens along the way, for the CDC to say the reburial was something that shouldn't be done, especially knowing how divided Liberia is something that I want you to give me some clarity. Is it the position of the CDC that President Doe does not deserve a reburial because he's a killer?
I think you are a dangerous communicator and pathological liar. You have to quote people in clear terms and conditions here. I said, and I want to repeat, that those who engage into murdering perpetrators of the war, if the government under Boakai will rebury perpetrators of the war, when I talk about the war, I talk about the war as its history, as far back as the injustices, the historical injustices. They are mentioned. I mentioned the historical economic injustices, the social imbalances, and the abuse of power under the Two Party. And you want to run with those, you can't know your thinking, where you want to go. Don't go there. Don't go there. I'm fast out of the now distraction here. I was categorical about the remnants of the Two Party, and I want to restate that. And I want to be on the record that if the government reburies remnants of the Two Party, like William Aratoba, who represented the 133 years decadence of the reactionary, hostile, backward, oligarchy Two Party, if the government can pay homage and use people's taxes, ordinary people, when JFK is going out of medicine, when schools are open and parents don't have school fees, when children are being thrown out of the streets to become breadwinners under this government, when major banking institutions, social institutions, for example, are collapsing because there's lack of business and everything. When it's hardship increasing the country and government is doing anything, I said, if the government can take that kind of huge sum of money and bury remnants of the Two Party, then it was fair enough historically that for the government to do the same for victims of the war. And when we talk about victims of the war, what do you want to measure though? Prince Johnson, William Aratoba, you in the studio over there, me here, everyone all contributed towards that. So the government reburial process cannot be one-sided. It must have a place where victims too. So who is responsible to bury the 250,000 victims, to rebury them? Why are you not asking the question about reburial of the 50,000 of victims who died during the civil unrest in the country? Why are you not asking that question? Why are you not coming out with that question? You are a student leader here. I don't know whether you read the history of the Labour Party. People got killed. People got killed on the Two Party administration. They put a lot of people. They kill people in this country. Why are you not asking the government to also give reburial to
So victims of April 14, 1970. That was our argument. Militants of PAC, the Progressive Alliance of Liberia. Militants of MOJA, the Movement for Justice in Africa. Militants of the April 14, 1979 of Backup Matthew, various memories of senior comrade senior comrade Backup Matthew, what's his name? Toba Natipote, Burma Formula. The Congress came out April 14, 1979. And your government is rewarding people who kill militants of Sioux. And you come from Sioux, you don't even know the history of Sioux. You don't know that militants were killed and were thrown, they were buried right into Central Street, April 14, 1979. We need to give you real class to understand history. And you sat in studio and you did not condemn your government. You did not condemn Wakai. But saying thank you to William Arab for for burying militants of Sioux, militants of Moza, and militants of FAR. I don't know how you became vice president for Osu, but you are dangerous communicator, and you are also. You have committed the worst class racer on that show, and I hope that you have to be re-examined in terms of the way you question. I want to say unequivocally that the government reburial of remnants and perpetrators of the war was disingenuous to victims of the civil unrest in our country. And in passing, I've mentioned but a strong emphasis on the oligarchy Chui party with emphasis on William Arab Tobo, who spent 133 years, subjugating our people to wage laborers, slaves, beat our people here, took our resources, bastardized down the state, circumventing the laws, and humiliated Liberians, even exclude us economically and deny us from participating politically in terms of the governance processes of our country. So that's the basis of our conversation. So you must go back and reiterate that if they get buried, if they get reburied, when our about them, how are the two military who died, who came outside April 14, 1979? How are the military on Moja who died, who came outside April 14, 1979? How are the military on PAC, Progressive Alliance who died, who came outside on April 14, 1979? And how are Liberians who died in Campley, who died in Butuo, during the Nima raid? How are the people who died in Vendile? There are Liberians who died in Vendile as well. There are Liberians who died in River G, who died in Bakolu. The victims, why is it that the government not giving victims reburial? That is the argument. That is the conversation. And I want you to tell us where do you stand on the conversation. Now we come with trivial and there's any diversionary argument here. We are solidified, we are sophisticated, and we are students of history, and we get commentaries for people that you as in dangerous. Playing dangerous role in the brand politics in the name of beyond the microphone. We know you. We know where you stand. We know where you do. We will not mince our words to come out of people like you who try to play politics out of humanity, who try to play politics out of people who die and so on. Why is your role in this country? How many times have you? Why is it? Why did you ask yourself question? If the government will rebury the police, it's over. What kind of lazy argument? You think because they go rebury Joe and rebury Warren out of so Labrador is peaceful. That's what I'm talking about. Do you understand peace is contest, economic contest, political contest, governance contest, social contest? Why is peace when the people do not have food to eat? Why is peace when hospitals are broken down, when educational system has broken down? Why is peace when people do not have jobs in our country? Why is peace when there's hardship and suffering, inflation and prices of commodities are increasing on a day-to-day basis? Why is peace in this country yet? Who tell you when people go rebury people, they can put food on people's table? Like the kind of role you're playing also?
Thank you so.
I'm disappointed in you.
Thank you.
Very disappointed in you.
Thank you very much, folks. If you're just joining us this evening, you're listening to the Heat Tower here on BKS Television. On the Heat Tower, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullet. Tonight, we're in conversation with Honorable Alvin Wisse. Alvin Wisse is the vice chair for operation and political education at the level of CDC. Of course, he's speaking to us this evening on a couple of national issues tonight. Over to you, Mana Lorena. Let's hear your two questions.
Good evening, Mr. Wisa. And this is my first. So this is my first question. You started by saying how the government had failed. This government had failed. But I want to ask you particularly when it comes to fighting of corruption. So we saw in the previous administration where you served in as an assistant minister, there was no independence for anti-graft institutions like the LDCC, the GAC, or the internal auditing agency. I say that because for every time there was a major audit done and report is about to come out, one or two auditors would die mysteriously. In this government, we are seeing that audits are being carried out, and then the reports are published, and then the auditors are still moving freely and going about their normal businesses. So how will you rate the two government when it comes to fighting or initiate efforts that have to fight corruption? That's my first question.
Thank you, Comrade. I think the premise of your question about auditors about to conduct audit report and that, I think it is flawed. It had no iota of evidence of.
Excuse me, Mr. We say I didn't say about to conduct. I said about to publish. All it will be done. Report is about to come out and then
about to report and publish and it that. Yes. So I think I still saying that.
Go ahead, Chief. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that information is untrue, Comrade. It's untrue. It's untrue, Comrade. You know, it is unfair to the CDC for you to make that accusation or to make that insinuation. At no point in time here. First of all, under the CDC administration, we gave the GAC first time in the history of the country unprecedented prosecutorial power. The power is GAC has today. How can somebody who is a criminal give anti-graft institutions prosecutorial power to say can prosecute me? That was a blatant lie. This was the propaganda that the people use. And as a sister and comrade, I expect you now to not buy into that kind of propaganda. To not purchase that lie. It cannot be packaged to serious person that you on a platform. You're a very smart person, but you have to understand propaganda from substance. What the people presented to you yesterday on that platform, it was nothing but dangerous pathological lie intended to just besmirch the reputation and the democratic credentials of the former president. So I want to first of all categorically reject that auditors did not publish or attempted to publish all the reports in the country and then they died because the government went after them. That's a bloody lie. The next thing here is that holding your argument or your question constant and assuming I am dating. Why stopping this government now? Why stopping the government to do the needful? Why stopping the government to do the needful? Why is stopping the government to say, okay, let's prosecute the people who they say were corrupt, who they say was investing in state resources? Why stopping them to prosecute the former president? Why stopping them to prosecute all those who they say were corrupt at the time? It was a propaganda, comrade. It was a big propaganda against the CDC administration, even the 16 billion stuff. It was a big propaganda. So all these things, like Brenna understand that this was a dangerous display of, propaganda intended to blackmail and to put a dark cloud on the international reputation of the CDC administration. When we talk about this country, people who did not even believe in President Weah's leadership were left in a respected position. We never dismiss people. There was no separate dismissals or civil sentence. People who criticize John Weah
former people, the ministers of the United Party were included in the CDC cabinet at work. So, we did not come to power at the time by wishing people. And you talk about, for example, what specific harm could auditors do, to the CDC, more than what the United Party did on June 7th. Henry Costa, the CDPP, people in this country who you saw going at the throat of the CDC, people you saw in this country, they were never arrested, they were never placed behind bars. Then you say, few of our brothers who died for reasons that is yet to be established, and you want to put it on the street. I think it's unfortunate to come here, and you got to retract that. On the question about what is happening now, don't be carried away by political audit that is going on and the fight against corruption on Wakai. Wakai is the chief patron of bad governance and corruption. You can clearly see what happened now. The GSC come up with a report from that Augustine Pay Gafan, the current foreign minister of the country, is indicted, implicated on the pages of corruption of 2.8 billion. Why hasn't the government taken stand? Why up to now the government has not taken stand on that one? Even the ombudsman, the people who have violated the code of conduct, there were lists of former officials who the ombudsman recommended for that dismissal from their different positions as a consequence of violating the code of conduct and the laws of the Republic of Liberia. Why hasn't your government come to take them and relieve them of their positions? Why up to now? The current Minister of Public Works, all of us know in this country that at the beginning of this government told 22.4 million, and he could not justify reasons behind the financial impropriety and the embezzlement of state resources at the Ministry of Public Works. So where is he? Where is Mr. Ami Muda, the then Minister of Commerce under the government, who was accused and had to subsequently resign? Has he been investigated, prosecuted for corruption? No, he still parades with the culture of impunity. Where is Padre Wozi, the guy from the FLC, Triple R? Where is he today? So, it is a display of political charade. It is a display of political charade that the government is not doing anything substantial in the fight against corruption, and it is clear that they are only doing it to target major opposition leaders in this country. So if you look at the fight now, they are shifted to political opponents. Go and see how they went after Jim Maxwell Kimia, the former minister of Foreign Affairs. Go and see they're going after Samuel Tito Jr. and other people. So this government has failed massively in the fight against corruption. There are different reports from GSC coming up, and the government is yet to take a bold step in terms of implementation and executing and discharging all of the recommendations emanating from anti-graft institutions. So when it comes to corruption, the government is very, very much corrupt. I'm not saying that. Different reports, even reports from the State Department saying that, reports, U.S. State Department reports saying that, report for Limbo or NEMO is also saying that, and there are inescapable evidential-based reports from GSC and other anti-graft institutions that are also indicted and implicated the government on the question about rampant corruption going on in the country.
Thank you. Madam Lorena, let's hear your last question. And of course, after you, Siawiti will take us home.
Okay, so just before I go to my last question, so initiating effort to fight corruption doesn't mean that corruption will not take place. So I just want you to get that right. So my second question is, you also said the government have failed when it comes to the fighting of drugs or the fight against drugs. I remember sometime early 2023, where two top officials of the DEA under the Weah administration were caught arguing on the phone, and one of their colleagues recorded them about drugs that is they got from maybe some dealer and what to do with it or keep it there will come for it. And those guys, no, it was in 2022, and those guys they were never suspended. They remained in their position until the election was over, as compared to where people are caught or people are maybe are not performing up to the task or up to the expectation of the president who appoint them, and he suspend, he takes action against them. So in this case, the one who saw or who heard people discussing how to keep a drugs to go and sell it for themselves, who should be actually punishing those who sell the drugs, and left them on duty until a year later, and they didn't say anything. They both situation, who is fighting drugs or who is trying to fight against drugs. He said the man who saw his two deputy, his director and their deputy planning and arguing about drugs, keep it, I will do this, I will sell it, or is the one who say, okay, you are not performing, I suspend you for administrative reason and bringing new people who have failed the country.
Lorena, your question is intellectually disingenuous and is unfair here. I think you're making a mistake. What we're discussing now, we're not discussing the past. The reason why Liberians and people like you went to the poll and you voted this government, and you voted this government, the embarrassment you have given, y'all give us this kind of disaster, the kind of national disappointment you put on the country. The reason why Liberians went, the reason we are, they agree with you to bring Boakai, the presidential liability on the Liberian people, and Jeremiah Coons, President Jeremiah Coons. The reason why the people agree with you was to do the right thing, was to fix things, and not to shape blame, and not to go back in the past. We're not going back to tell you why what happened, what not happened. The reason why the people took Mr. President, because we are out of the executive mansion and the brought your government to tell us how you can do differently. And interestingly, you said you're not going to do business as usual, but you have changed 3 different DEA officers. Right over there, even your so-called state no drugs. The campaigners are resigning, are leaving. So it tells you the government has failed, Lorena. What more you want me to say? What more you want me to say? I mean, look at the DA. Look, you talk about people on phone. Look at what happened between Ebi Koma and one of the Patiga and Baoko. Look at the very recent accusation that your whole government is engaged into drugs and substance abuse, is into business and partnership with the drugs cartel in the country. I mean, a certain deputy director for operation at the DEA was dismissed by this government. Made a blatant, direct accusation that there are people in the government who are engaged into the wholesale and retail distribution and commercialization of drugs and substances in Liberia. I'm not the one saying that. So we will not need to go back to Georgia. Georgia is not in the driving seat. It's not the president. So all the accusations that were you were called to seat of leadership to govern, and if we were to judge you for the next 6 years or few years, I mean, we are going to judge you on your stewardship in office and not judge we are. So when you hear people saying CDC-led administration, Unity Party-led administration, the other party-led administration, it is the Unity Party-led administration era. And I want us to focus on it because the CDC, I mean, it was taken out of power because according to Liberian people, whose decision we respect, that the CDC was not working to fight drugs. In fact, this government campaigned when she was in opposition on issue about drugs, issue of push. They said there were too many push in the country. They will come to eliminate. They will come to decimate. They will come to excommunicate the issue about that thing. What thing they call push in the country? Lorena, you are here. All of your campaign on a push thing.
So you gotta be asking, you gotta be telling us now how far you're going with the drug business. Today you get spark and that, you get zombie, you get push, right? DA, you appoint officer at DA 3 times, you dismiss them because they are incompetent, they are unqualified, and they are also telling you, pointing fingers that you are also engaged in the process. The government goes to the central prison, Bahrain Central Prison, and give amnesty to people who are selling, to people who are accused of selling drugs. For example, Japan and one Molu. I know how I can share the photos and the footages with you. They get an amnesty. Why can't get an amnesty? Notorious drug dealers in the country. So when you see the people who are parading with t-shirts all around saying never drug, you see the people run away. Everybody resign. The people are resigned, Lorena. So what more you want me to tell you that the government has masterfully in the fight against drugs? That's why you see citizens not doing their own thing. And their own thing now killing the communities. And people you're going to community, you go, you try to go outside, people dying on the streets, the end and see all over the place every day. You on Facebook, you said you see how the government. I mean, there is a very, very, I mean, there's a whole wave of deaths in the country, death balance in the country as a result of a very incompetent government that is clueless about what. First of all, how can you say you want for a drug, you don't have rehab center? How?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Alvin.
You don't have maximum political will to deal with perpetrators and importers of drugs and substances in our country. How can you do that?
Thank you, Alvin. Thank you.
And it is unfortunate that Liberians have to endure this national shame, disgrace, disappointment, and embarrassment for the last 4 years to come. It's an embarrassment, a shame, and a serious national disgrace.
Thank you, Alvin. We got less time in our favor, so we're gonna go to Siawete to take us home with the line of questioning. Siawete, over to you now. Your 2 questions.
Thank you, Junior. Good evening to Comrade Wise online.
Yeah, Comrade Siawete, good evening, brother.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, good that I listened to your expose. You lamented on the issue of stewardship, where you are discussing the Unity Party now because of the stewardship, their current leadership role as a Unity Party government. But my attention is drawn to your stewardship, as a government, which is the CDC. During the regime of the CDC, my concern is actually drawn to the issue of drugs, for which is one of the challenging, issue now in our country, regardless of which regime. But my concern, the reason why I'm asking you is about when you talk about stewardship. I think 2022 or 2023, we witnessed the arrival of drugs, over 1 million, worth of drugs in Liberia. And up to now, we don't know what the investigation of that substance up to now. And the guys at DEA, the deputy for operation at the time, there were a lot of hard and pull. And under your regime, there were a lot of importation of drugs in Liberia. My question to you is, many political pundits could say, are you, when I say you, which means the CDC, are you the rightful person to criticize this current regime of the proliferation of drugs in Liberia? When under your regime, there were all of those importation of drugs in the country. Are you the right messenger?
Well, that's a brilliant question. You are saying that people do not have the constitutional right under our law to hold national opinion and to express their disgust whenever their comfort, their happiness comes in conflict, with the existing
policies and everything, or issues or contradictions in the country. But to ask that question is to tell me the United Party had 12 years on early 27. 12 years of stewardship. And was still questioning the citizen government on the issue of accountability, on the issue of corruption and governance. So people have the constitutional right, the right to agree and disagree, the right to hold and express political opinion. Those are inalienable constitutional franchise that are fundamental to good governance and the principles and tenets of democracy. So, we have the moral right to queue, we have the democratic credential. It is our constitutional right to hold the citizens, the United Party's administration accountable on her stewardship to national leadership and governance. So I want to state that clear that we have the right to do so. Insofar, all of you have the right during our administration to question us. We do, because we were accused, right? They said we were accused. They said we're this, we're that. Now what they came to power, and if they are not living to the expectation of their creed, which is their manifesto, their arrest agenda, and the rescue policies that they put in place, it is our constitutional right to critique that. And that's what we are doing on the show. If I don't have the right from Ms. Yahweh, you will not invite me on the show. Because you know that I hold that right as a Liberian citizen to do so. On the issue about the allegation you talk about, government continue to take from Ms. Yahweh. Why has put in this government? Now, if you claim that in 2022, such a situation happened about 1 million jobs, why is the government not reopening the file on corruption, on the allegation talking about the job issue? Why is the government not doing that to prosecute those that were involved? Because you came under that mantra, the government came under that mantra to prosecute, to fight corruption, to fight jobs. So, but from where we are now, comrade, from where we are now, we are talking about the stewardship of the government of today, not the government of yesterday. And the government of the day in honor the mantra of fighting drugs. Today we got 3 different drugs, new drugs in the country that never existed under the CDC administration. You know about that. We talk about the expected that they now have the push and have the zombie drugs. And the most dangerous and most devastating is most spontaneous, the most sporadic, is most evading, and it's creating the loss of lives. You know the country, you know what happened in the country. There's a shutdown. And Vietnam is on the list internationally as one of the dangerous in terms of on the news for drugs, a huge drug presence in our country. It was never that they are under the city administration.
Thank you.
And I'm not saying we never had drugs, we never had a pitfall of missteps under the CDC. That is not the composition. And I don't want to be unfair. The CDC government was not a righteous political government, entity, or not righteous drug, not perfect. But you say you're more perfect and you're more experienced. This government had all of the sophistication. That's why the Labrenco brought this government to solve the issues and not to share blame. So it will be intellectually unfair again from a standpoint for people to be asking why. When you have the opportunity to do a particular piece of job, stop shaping blame. Go and deal with the issue. I said to you, they don't issue this export the government.
Thank you.
Who had this bit at the LDA said they directly accused officials in the government, and now the government dismissed it. Mr. Quest, I think, he was dismissed because he spoke to the power.
Thank you, Abin.
He indicted the government.
Thank you.
That issue was not. There are people in the country, the government, who are doing business with that particular
that might not stop, and we're not going anywhere soon. People who are on the street say no to drugs, major campaigners and faces have resigned.
Thank you, Alvin. We are out of time.
How is this government accountable for its incompetence, irresponsibility, and lack of political will, policy, or direction that has to do with issues of providing homes, shelters, rehabilitation centers for victims, and showing that the laws on the book that's pertaining to drugs and substance abuse, when perpetrators are involved, political compromises will not be made across the table, and those people must be able to be prosecuted and walk them through the criminal justice system of our country. Because in fact, that whole process is unbearable because the former president, former government, again, Honorable President George Manawiya passed the drug law, making it unbearable that people go beyond bar for importing, for doing the importation of drugs and substances in our country. So the law is there. Implement the law and start going back to drugs. Implement the law and start shaping blame. That's what we are saying, comrade. That's what we are saying.
Thank you. Thank you, Alvin. Siawite, let's hear your last question.
Yeah, thank you, Junior. You know, the reason I asked Mr. Wisse this question is because he gave all of those very nice and, can I say, recommendation or expose from, from his deliberation from the beginning. Sometimes people, when you are not in position, you get all of those recommendations to make. That's why I asked him, and what were the rule at the time to mitigate all of those things. But as it is, he's the panelist and he answered the way he needed to answer. But the next thing is, many times I heard from Sidishan, thank God that he's one of the leaders of the CDC. The record, I think you might have this record. The sad thing is he's not online to actually explain to us some of these receipts. The CDC, while it's true, we heard that they were in the Banas compound for 20 years, but it also shows that there were compliance, default on the side of the CDC. But now, at this point, when the court ruling came that CDC needed to vacate, Mr. Wisse and Akaras Gray, Honorable Gray, and the rest of the people, they went in defiance of the court ruling. So I wanted to ask him, with all of those records that shows that the court ruled in 2016 in favor of Mr. Dempster, and then up from 2016 up to the time they pay Mr. Dempster the $350,000, which was in 2024 of March. So my question to him, and the current ruling from the court, how do you align that with the United Party government and going after you when there was a court ruling? That's what I wanted to know. So the final aspect of it is that you keep saying the government went after you. Don't you think you, as a law-abiding citizen or as a government waiting, because as an opposition you are government waiting, don't you think you were also obstructing the justice system of our country and putting the lives of others at risk with the order from the court?
Yeah, thank you for the question. We never put anybody's lives at risk because we are a party of law and a law-abiding political institution, because we've led this country under the genuine leadership of the Excellency President George Manawiya. We demonstrated excellence in terms of the rule of law and holding the constitutional tenets and the different precepts of our democracy very constant. While we were still at the party headquarters, we were there because when you have a court process, I know you are a very smart comrade. You know very well that in the absence of judicial process, an ongoing judicial process, government cannot invade or demolish properties belonging to a particular political party when there is still a matter before the court. And that was the reason why we stayed there. We did not go there because we were endangering people's lives, because that is where we live. I mean, people live, like I told you, people live to that place. People have their businesses. People have their shops. They have school there, right? They got church house there as well. They got areas where people sleep. What the years. So they're not places where a matter still being before the court and what the process is about to go through the final judicial process, and the government with no notice of evasion from the court, and how are we accusing the government? We accusing, the government, for example, there's a deputy minister at MICA, Daniel Sado. Always going after the CDC by the headquarters in MICA press conference, the MICA press briefing, telling the people about the party got to leave their place over there. They were not paying rent and everything. How did that concern the government at the time? How did that concern MICA press conference? Is that part of the national deliverables and the governance issues in the country? How? What was the business of the deputy minister in the issues of the party headquarters, for example? So and go on Facebook. Go on Facebook. There's a deputy minister, deputy director general at LBS by the name of Inflow. When the people illegally dismissed, illegally demolished and evicted the headquarters of the Congress for Democracy, Inflow said mission accomplished. I'm calling names. So it tells you that the whole process were politically motivated and were orchestrated by the government because they wanted to settle political skills. And when people come to power on vendetta, on political venom, trying to use law enforcement institutions to settle political scores, the last time we saw that, it did not author well for the peace, the stability, and the security of the country. And that's why we said it was wrong, and we categorically condemned that. And the chairman of our party, through the National Executive Committee, wrote on the matter of the illegal entry to demolish buildings and belongings that belong to the Congress for Democratic Change. And as I speak to you, that matter is still, there are legal processes to ensure that the government pays damages and also ensure that she will be able to account for the level of irresponsible public misconduct being meted against the Congress for Democratic Change.
Thank you, Alvin. It was great having you on the show here tonight. Again, on behalf of the management and workforce of this station or this TV platform, we'd like to extend our happiest appreciation to you for being here tonight on the show. In 30 seconds, give us your parting comment, Chief.
Yeah, so in my parting comment, I made a remark and I want to interrupt. I saw one of the talking points, I don't know who is that we didn't go on the which has to do with 2029. I want to conclude on that. And I mentioned something about people misconstrue my statement about civil war. I said at one of the intellectual centers that the reason why Liberians went to war was because one party ruled the country for over 133 years until we saw the demise of the First Republic and the Chewy Party dynasty and the oligarchy that led this country into what we experienced. And subsequently, that bring had to go to war because they were calling for inclusion, they were calling for broader participation. So I have said, after the war, this country gave United Party a chance to govern for 12 years. Liberians give the United Party a chance of 12 years. Honor Ellie and Joe. Honor Joe and Kun, they have given the United Party 6 more years. So if you calculate between the 12 years Honor Ellen and the 6 years Honor Joe Junior, you get to realize that the Unity Party, just the Unity Party alone, just the Unity Party of all almost different political parties, 22 plus political parties or 24 plus, right? Of all the political parties, just the Unity Party alone, this country gives the Unity Party 18 years. So that is from now to 2029, 12 years, 6 years are 18. 2029, I said that the country must go back to political crisis and conflict. There is a potential conflict ahead of 2029 election because we are getting credible information from the government to rig the elections and to steal the elections and try to impose the Unity Party on the Liberian people come 2029. So I said that in this stage and democracy, this time and age, it's not going to be possible for us to give one party 24 years. Dion, do your calculation. 12 years on Ellen and Joe, 6 years on Kun and Waka. How many years? 18. If the Unity Party says she must win by all costs and to see election 2029, that's 24 years. Where are we headed to? Are you telling me we will go to one party state? Is that what Liberian people want to war for? To take the two party out of their neck? We are not going to give another monster in the name of the Unity Party becoming a replica of the two party in this time and age, particularly in the 21st century. So I have made my submission that Liberia, my experience, a potential political conflict where Unity Party makes any attempt to try to break and steal election 2029. So whether Waka have ambition, they must know that if we get Unity Party 24 years, how much do you get 6 years? How much do you get ANC, AFP? So the Unity Party is not Liberia. Liberia is not Unity Party. So we want to be clear and want to say categorical. But for the sake of political balance and the balance of power, we must be able to transition power as power was transitioned to the Unity Party. The Unity Party must get ourselves prepared to transition power to the CDC. Anybody who telling people in the corner, in a meeting, in cabinet meeting, that Doria is weak and will break election 2029, that person will turn the country back to a potential civil conflict. They will not mislead Jeremiah Kun. They will not mislead Wakai. We are not going to election because of Doria. That election will be sensibly on about the restoration of the oligarchy party or the maintenance of what we call multi-party state and multi-party democracy in our country. That is the composition that we have in 2029. And now we go on about Georgia. Anybody, if you own the issues about multi-party democracy, if you have a political balance that will settle score issues of what led the country to 14 years of unrest in our country. So I'd like to say thanks to all of the panelists, to Lorena, if I'm getting the name, to Comrade Davis, if I'm not mistaken, and Comrade Yahweh, and Junior, if I'm also forgetting some of the panelists. And let me say thanks to all of you for inviting me to the platform. I look forward for another conversation as we begin to maybe enter into the Unity Party's policies and thematically discuss agriculture, discuss economics, and other sectors that have to do with governance in our country. I think thanks so much. We try to work on our internet and our stuff to make sure maybe we appear in person so that we can be able to see one another face to face. I know the discussion was firing, and that is part of the nature of the debate. We appreciate you guys for the invite.
Thank you very much for being here tonight, Alvin. We appreciate you so much for appearing on the show.
Thank you.
Folks, that was the voice of Honorable Alvin Wisse. Alvin Wisse is the vice chair for. I think my camera giving me problem from my device, so I will leave it up to Mr. Matheson to give us his analysis and parting comment in 3 minutes. Every panelist will be afforded 3 minutes to give their analysis and parting comment. And let me see if I can work on my camera shortly. But let's see, Mr.
Thank you. I think, as usual, it was a very unique show. And I think that this was an opportunity for the national leadership of the CDC to start telling their own story because, as intimated by the vice chair, CDC did a lot of good things, but they could not tell their story. And to me, that's paradoxical. If you are a government and could not tell your own story, then in opposition, you think that's the platform now you have to tell your story, then I think it's quite unfortunate. And to the point, the guest was very much drifted away from the core issue that were provided him the opportunities. Every question that was asked was to a larger extent invaded. I think they're still in another mood and they continue to see national issue as a campus-based political issues, and they will discuss it, void of understanding and maturity. And that is dangerous for our democracy. To place the leadership of political institutions and governance structure in the hands of people who lack fundamental understanding, I think is sad. If you look at the question that I asked, he was someone who was expelled from school. After high school, gained access to university, you were expelled, and he was appointed assistant minister. But such a person coming to say the Unity Party government is a conglomeration of incompetent brats, I think that was disingenuous. That was totally a disservice. And then you come out to say the person who occupies your position has a mere BSc when you were then expelled. It leads me to knowing the reason why he really didn't even understand the title in which he occupied at the time, and he wanted to, or he just relegated the assistant minister job, assistant minister for research and extension job, to a mere, service distributor, as compared to some of the most reasonable and genuine functions like providing technical support, managing administrative processes, supporting agricultural development. Those are, cardinal functions of the assistant minister. But to say the position is just for distributing, then it tells me why the government of George Weah was just a one-term government. And looking forward, the Liberians would have thought that the CDC will rebrand, bring out different actors, people who got relevant understanding, attachment to the community, but to still have, an Alvin Wisse in national leadership position of the party to come and be the one to provide direction for Liberian voters. I still see it as a cataclysmic failure of the CDC to upgrade, and it will lead them to defeat again in 2029. And the guys are clever in, undermining processes, because there was a very Alvin Wisse who came up to say the Liberian National Police were taking on the compounds of the Congress of Democratic Change drugs and things, when they knew very well that instead of having a party, they created a breeding grounds for drugs. And you can see from his approaches, I mean, he's not going to win anything for the Congress of Democratic Change, and they have in no way on any solid path to a better 2029. I mean, they just represent a failure, and failure they will be, especially to come and look at national hearing process by this government, and consider former President Doe as just a mere killer who never should be reburied as perfected by the government of Liberia, which to reasonable person is a gateway to a genuine reconciliation in Liberia. I still see it as a sad representation he did a very unfortunate job for the CDC, and he should be ashamed of himself and his representation in the interest of the CDC. I want to say thank you. It was quite a great show, and I look forward to more of these kind of conversation and interactions so that we get to know the marks that actors are wearing on marks, the marks that they are wearing, and know their true quality, because I think he represents one of the bad apples that needs to be weeded from the CDC so as to show the upgrade process of the CDC, because CDC represents a youthful political movement that has to be rebranded with knowledgeable and well-defined people, but to still parade character like Admin we say, I see it as a disservice to the Liberian people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marvelous, and thanks to all of our guests and to our listeners. So it was a great show. It has been a great show as always. I listened to the conversation and it was very interesting. I too, I have different take on the point of reburial. Me being a victim of the war, where my father was slaughtered, killed on 18th Street in Cinco there, without any grave site. So, he's someone who also served in the military with the late President Doe. So sitting here in the U.S., knowing that I don't have any gravesite to go to remember my dad. Same thing with my kids. They don't know where their granddad was buried. And then, to Alvin's point, being selective of, reburial. So what happens to people like myself? What happens to my dad? Is it because he was not the president or former president? Was it?
No, I think the process was not selective. They did the leadership tab, and they did entire Liberian who lost their life. It was very inclusive, and it was meant to be a closure of the better parts of our country so that we can begin knowing ourselves, where we've gone wrong, come together, unite, and forge ahead in unity to uphold our Liberianness in order to be able to move the country forward. So the whole aspect was just one of the burial process or the closure process, after which there were other occasions that followed, if you were following.
Yeah,
I want to ask a question, even though my camera is giving me a problem. But I want to ask Mr. Mavasin a question. What prompted the reburial in this administration when President Joseph Jomaah Boakai served under the regime of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for 12 years, but they couldn't rebury people? After the death of the late Senator Johnson, when they saw that Nibadian embraced the burial of Senator Johnson, they started going about to rebury Doe and the rest of the folks. Do you think this was fair enough?
I think it was not intended to take away from the burial that was, giving Senator Johnson. No, that was not the intent. I think the discussions were in the pipeline and the processes were being worked on. And like you talk about President Boakai serving as the vice president for 12 years. Vice president is a position, a supporting position. You're not the arrowheads. You could have communicated your wisdom, and part of it, we were just emerging from civil crisis, and that was just the first democratically elected government that took over after the civil crisis. So a lot of the feelings were being heightened. So some of these things has to be planned properly. But I think one good thing that the Madam Sirleaf's government did, there was a burial for the massacre citizen of our country, which involved Nibarians as well, in the Duporo area, which has become a tourist attraction in the Republic of Liberia. So those initiatives has its beginning from the very Unity Party, administration during the early years. And this was just a continuation so as to provide closure for our better past and be able to foster a better united front to move ahead, with the rebuilding process of our country. Like the Unity Party mantra we see, especially under the Barker's administration, think Liberia.
Yeah.
Think Liberia.
Yeah.
So we have to now think Liberia, and part of it is to provide closure to our past and move ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Again, I was speaking from my personal point of view, and I know there are thousands of Liberians that share my view. I would personally say, if you're going to bury Doe, who killed my dad, why not bury my father, right? So we can agree to disagree. I actually agree with Alvin Wee said when it comes to that point. I think being selective, regardless of who you are, being a president, I know you said, why is Alvin referred to him as a regular state person? I hold a different view on that. I think it was not necessary. I think it was selective in reburying people. They should have done it a different way, or just let it be. We just go to the national reconciliation and just try to get things going instead of going after Doe, picking Doe or other leaders to bury them. But that's just me. That's just my point of view on that. I didn't speak about it before, but I heard Alvin talk about it. I heard you guys going back and forth. Personally, as a son, of someone who was killed, I believe that my father too also deserved fitting burial. But anyway, we'll keep it there, and then we'll move on to our host is having some issues, so we'll go to Lorena to see what her closing statement is, so we can kind of wrap up the show there. Says Lorena, you can hear me?
See that?
No, we're going to you. Our host is in the back. His camera's off, so I'm taking over.
I thought you were still agreeing with Avenue.
Yeah, I agree with him on the fact that the burial was selective. We had other people who were killed during the war who also deserved fitting burial and are not getting that. I agree with him on that part.
Yeah, I remember I heard the president saying it was like symbolic, and he was extending like something like condolence to people who lost their family, and he hoped they will use that period as a period of healing. He said that so I don't know. Because we know it's not possible, like for example, I had to lost my uncle at the Lutheran church, and so it's not possible to like call each family, because we don't even have some people don't even have record of some of the families. So yeah, but anyway, again, want to say sympathy for the loss of Mr. Benjamin Shaka, the man whose legacy we are sitting on today. And JMB will speak for himself. Let me read out the story. So coming to the show, I think he came prepared with a different agenda. So no matter how you ask him question, he tries to answer your question, he has to go back to his notepad, I would say, to bring some of the things that he already got written that he wanted us to know. But again, I think this show has a way of breaking people down or making people to be humble. The way he talks out there and China and this and that, I already thought he would have said most of those things, except for one that he said Babuzu. I remember reading a chat room. I said, what is Babuzu? So he just used one. So I think he just look at everybody on this and said, like, okay, no, I don't have to go there because they will humble me more. But Avin is a politician. He's not an advocate. So I expect him to answer the way he answers. Because if you are an advocate, he will be frank to know that President Barker or this government is doing well in all the areas that we touch as compared to what CDC did. And then when Marvin asking about him being an expelled or drop out of school, it doesn't matter what you were expelled for. Nobody gets expelled because you scored 100. You get expelled because you did a bad thing. So, and then he wants to make it seem like you got expelled, so it means you got degree, because when you got expelled, maybe it's not too bad. Something that he want to present. But the fact that is you got expelled, you are no experience to say, okay, maybe you didn't have a degree, but you got experience because you've been learning on the job. No experience, no credential, but you were an assistant minister, yet you look at very qualified people in a very serious government and say they are a bunch of incompetent people. So I just feel he's a politician that Liberian politicians are. That's what he just presented. If we were talking to somebody, an activist or an advocate, would be hearing some thing, he would be like, you say, okay, this one, they do this, But he just have to blow the horn of CDC. And I know his position has to do with education. So I'm kind of thinking what he will be saying to the youth. They have training institution in that area, and they did not graduate anybody up to the time they drove them out of the place. But again, that was a good show, and also a good show to just bring people at least to have us entertain and story from other side of the coin. So other than that, that was a good show, and thank you all. Thank you, and we'll wait to see who will be our next guest tomorrow.
Who was in the queue to speak? Was it Shadrach or Siawete?
You the host, so I think we two now remain.
Okay, Siawete haven't been here for a couple of days now, so let's give Siawete the opportunity to speak, and after that we can come to you.
Yeah, Gian, it was a good show. What happened in Liberia most time as opposition is when you are out of the picture, you see the wrong side of government. But we are not truthful to ourselves. That's another thing. I think what we need to do, when I say we, whenever people are in opposition, I think the essence of being opposition is what the current leadership, in terms of stewardship, what they are not doing, you put for recommendation. But I think on the other side of our country, what we see in Liberia from HO is opposition will just, whether the good thing is happening, they will turn it the other way and make it, whether it's white, they make it black. Most of the thing he said, asked him, because he was talking about, stewardship. You've led the country for 6 years, and the issue of drugs, there was huge influx of drugs in the country, smuggling everywhere, to the extent that 100+ million, if you do that calculation, just with even 190 rate, you're talking about billions of Liberian dollars value of narcotics, substances. So all those things happen under your regime, 25 million mob of SSR, the Iboma loan, and all of that. And someone could justify why it happened, so because it happened at the time. So on their stewardship, they are holding the party accountable. But what's the recommendation they are showing as opposition? Being an opposition does not mean you cannot show up recommendation for your country. It should be, because you sit out there, you are government waiting. But most time, my only disappointment is people just come talk. At the end of the day, when you put them there, and if you even see from the question you ask, you will not answer, you will not go to the meat of the discussion, you will leave and like almost you and the guests, you are having maybe argument or debate. But that's it. It's good. It's good to do because this platform was not created or meant for whether opposition, imposition. No, everyone will have their say here. The only thing we encourage people, you come, you be moderate, and be straight to the point so we can have the discussion. But on the overall, I think it was good. Most time we encounter some of these conversation and we'll ask them the hard question. One good thing I know is when the guests come, he decides how to answer our question. He don't answer it at our will. So once he answered the way he answered, nothing you can do beyond that. So for me, that's why most time, if I ask a guest and you don't go straight to how I feel, I don't bother myself anymore. But once you muster the courage to come on the platform, from now to 2029, there will be a lot of, radio appearance, talk show appearance, and all of that. But it was good that he appeared to unleash what he had to express to the public. So it was good. It was a good time, says Lorena. I mean, it was nice too. He asked your man, then he talked about the political, Van Busua kind of thing. He put it all there. Comme TV who also led the Vanga party to Borna in fond.
So here I want to get a little disclaimer. So when I invited Alvin, I told him that this show is being relayed to our people in Nimba, in Butu and stuff like that, right? So we talked about the English and stuff like that. So he according to him, the discussion he can't come on here and speaking to the old man in Butu, and and speak big English. So that's why he was laid back. And I mean, we all know Alvin when it comes to the way he speaks, right? So that I just want to give that little disclaimer that's the reason why when we're having the meeting about coming, we had a discussion. I told him, say this show is relaying Butuo, so he had to speak according to.
He did not do any different. He just was having the same way. He didn't do any different.
Tabula rasa.
No, but he never spoke English though. Lorena just said. Lorena said he never spoke English.
He used to.
Yeah.
But
having tonight.
But anyway, so where Gian going again?
Yeah, I think it was now going to Sadra.
Sadra will hear you there.
All right. Yo, thank you. When they see us speaking, we got to keep quiet now. Yeah, so thanks to everybody. Having still get, like Marco said, they still get the student politics, how they call sports. So he had not realized that he has certain government, a statement, and when he's speaking, you take out our student jacket. So, like, I asked him about the involvement and what did he do when Kari was going, bankrupt and a lot of corruption allegations were against him. He said he had nothing to do with that. He would not know part of Kari. I see that probably he did not understand the function at the time of Ministry of Agriculture as Assistant Minister for Regional Development and Research. That particular Kabi, even to a tournament, but directly he deal with them. So for him to sit on the public platform and say he had no idea what happening there, then it means that they were just after political gain, but not actually working for the interest of the country to solve country problems. Secondly, I asked him, how did you take a prayer lady to some of the property where you were invited? Prayer. That thing can even sue you again for going on a property with different action or different activity that you are not allowed to do. You occupy that place for almost 22 years. You did not legalize it. You didn't buy it. You've been invited. Then when you took somebody, before you go and pray on the ground, it was not no professional or no legal. That somebody can take you to court for that. If I take from my property, go buy it with different group of people, I can sue for some action. I didn't see it as to be professional to go back to somebody private property where you were invited to say I was going to pray to remember my SYZ. I didn't think the statement is leading their followers are they own that place or they have rights in that place, which of course is not. That's why I asked that question. What was that implication to the public for you to explain? But then he left out that the answer, he started going to different areas. Why he asked Baka to do SYZ whatsoever or be better all the one. I said Baka to be better and your legal action were quite different. Two scenarios that you're talking about. Baka did not go take somebody family body to go bury without that consent to say it was no illegal. But when you pray on somebody property that you were invited that you did not own, that was not professional. He had no article a substantive, how they call it, backing for you to tell your followers what you did. Anyway, it was a good show. At least sometimes people come here, and it's not on the other show, the other side, and the public will know who they are. Thank you so much for the show for today.
Thank you, Shadrach. I mean, I'm the last man standing, so I got to make my little take about it.
Yeah, before you make your little take, so we got new processes in place now. So this week is going to be a loaded week. We have a lot of see, my wasn't laughing, yelling, but he's shaking his head. And
I just wanted to remind you that Manchester United is not placed on the table.
Yeah. We'll talk about that, but we have a really good week coming up. So tomorrow we'll start with Charles Moncayo from the university in Nimba. Charles is going to come here. Sis Lorena, I hope you come on time. He's going to come to respond to the interview we had with Adonis the last time. Yeah, he's not happy with the way DK, responded to them, alleging that, I think he said again, I'm not going to quote that, but anyway, the statement that DK made, he's not happy about it. So he will be here tomorrow to discuss that. Then on Tuesday, we have my brother Tako Mambia. He's going to be our guest. The former, contested in this gone by election in the Great District 5, Booyah. And then Wednesday, we will be hosting Honorable Matonike Tingban. He's going to be our guest. And there's going to be a really good one to fire him on. So we'll give the whole lineup. Then Thursday, we don't have anyone yet. So anyone here got any guests, we'll have opening on Thursday. Again, this platform, before I go to the other guests, I want to stay on here. Mafasin, Siawete, Lorena, and the great Shadrach, the man that is close to power. We want to extend our invitation to everybody, people who are in the current ruling party, people who are in leadership, people who want to come in. This is a platform for all of us, right? So again, we just want to send our invitation out there publicly that we are open to hosting anyone. The folks that you see coming are the folks that have agreed to come, right? When we reach out to them, they agree, they consent to come. The other people who reach out, we have not been opportune to get positive. So all the folks that keep coming are the folks that have agreed to come. So it's open to anyone. We are not selective when it comes to getting our guests on here. Then on Friday, we will be hosting Honorable Garrison Yelu. He has agreed to come back on here to talk about some trending issues. He made a post I think earlier today or yesterday, about some things, and folks have been reaching out to him to publicly make appearances and talk, and he has chosen BKS TV, which we are honored to host him on Friday. So it's going to be a fiery show. And then on Saturday we'll have Lance. I forgot how to say his last name. Lance what name? Y'all helping now?
Lance Bagoyon.
Okay, yeah.
Lance Bagoyon.
Yeah, Lance Bagoyon will be our guest on Friday or Saturday. So that's the week. That's how loaded our week is going to be. We have decided to announce it in advance so people can be prepared and in anticipation of the guest. But thanks again to everyone, all of you. But my first thing, you might answer my call when I call you.
I was sleeping, man. Sorry.
All right, Gino, you can do your conclusion, and I like what you wearing. So that suit, that jacket, what kind of necktie you wearing? You mute it, we can hear you.
It's just a long sleeve shot. But again, I want to say it was a great show. It was a fiery show. It was really great. I think I need to meet somebody.
Somebody got noise in the background.
Yeah, so it was good. It was firing, and of course, I mean, we disagree to agree, but the comrade said a lot of great things when he was speaking. Avi said a lot of good things because Now, let's take, for example, the issue of the reburial. I, for one person, I thought that was really, the timing was bad. I believe that the timing was really, really bad. And of course, it wasn't supposed to be done that way. I'm currently living in a country where genocide took place, and every month, in every April, they take at least they gave 2 weeks break to everybody. It's like a memorial week that people, mourn for those that lost their life during the genocide. I think this is what the government should be thinking of doing, but not going to rebury certain group of people and you leave the other people. There are a lot of people that lost their life during that time. And one of the things he also said, I also take very seriously, is that this government accused people back then for corruption, but yet then they are not prosecuting those people. And it's sad enough that this same administration be the one comparing their administration to the past administration. I mean, for God's sake, the Liberian people said Joshua administration, they didn't do the right thing. They removed him. You now and there focus on, building the capacity of Liberians, focus on the economy of Liberia, focus on so many good things for Liberians, but start comparing the last administration with your administration. And
I want to ask you to. Yeah, you as a legal practitioner practicing law, I mean, you're studying law to practice law, and investigation procedure of a country under the law, and not a one-day thing. So when the government or the president suspend and say investigation is ongoing, how do you refer to that and say the government no prosecuting?
No, I'm quoting what he said.
No, but we are all living in the country. We know what happening. So he quoting so the government has suspended for investigation. The process is ongoing. Recently, you heard.
No, he's not speaking of this administration. He said the past administration, people who served there, they were accused of corruption, but this administration is not prosecuting them. That's his point, and I'm quoting from.
But are they not the same people? Are they not the same people that call investigate?
Which one? That's why if they get that UP government, but they never did. So if you certify with the government who you took over from and feel that they did everything right, fine. But when I took over from them and say I will prosecute. And so what I miss being that type of corruption. And that
but were they not the one parading for their actors being witch hunter? You persecuted them, then they call it witch hunt?
You're not
that is what we say talking about, yeah.
I'm quoting, for me personally, I've not seen this government prosecute any individual for corruption. They have gone after them. There are cases in court that are pending that I know of, but have these people been, let's say the case have been adjudicated? No, I don't know of that, but there are cases in court, and I know that it is ongoing investigation. I know of Summer Tour, I know of the other folks, I know that they are ongoing investigation. But then his point he's making is that if this government believes that the past administration was so corrupt, let them go through the case fast and prosecute these people. So that's the point he was making. I'm quoting from him. I'm not quoting from my very self. For me, what he said, and I totally agree with him, was the reburial of Samuel Kayando. I believe that the timing was wrong, and those shouldn't have even been reburied. I personally believe that those should have never been reburied in Liberia. For the sake of peace, we should have let it go. We should have, set up a day for reconciliation, set up a day to mourn our people, but to go and rebury them. I am number one person that do not believe in that. And I know that those carry out mass killing of Liberian people. We know the history, but to go and single-handedly rebury those and the other people, you do it like something that they push you to do it, it makes me feel bad. Personally, it makes me feel bad. That's the start. I agree with him totally on the conversation tonight. But again, it was a great show. It was really, really great. I hope to see all of you guys tomorrow for another fiery show with the Nima County University Administration.
Thank you, Gino.
Shadow ain't go to school,
Thank you, Alvin. We said, brother.